everybody, it's Leslie with a little workshop on questions I've been asked so much recently for some reason, and wondering if there something just isn't right in a relationship, wondering if their partner is controlling them. They're a controlling person because it's gone on for a while and now whatever they do isn't right. So we're going to go through that with you. Tony wants me to tell you she went to the beauty shop yesterday and she thinks she looks beautiful. So we told her that. Okay. All right, here we go. Some signs you know that you are being controlled. And the first thing is the person that's your partner is going to be isolating you from their family and their friends. And it's especially if you've been together quite a while, you want to meet their family, their brother, their sister, their mother, and they won't do it for any reason. That's control. That's because they don't want you to. They do not want you to get a hold of their family if they're not treating you properly. This is very, very true. They don't want their friends to know their business, and that makes you feel. And I'm sure that makes you feel like they're not proud of you. They're not happy to be with you. And the next thing is the second point is, and that meeting with the family is very important. Very, very important. The second thing is constant criticism. Just constant criticism, you know? I mean, it's like whatever you do, it isn't right. Or remarks, just remarks. And then until you learn what's going on, you try and come back with it, you try and defend yourself. Don't waste your time because it won't work. It really, truly will not work. A controlling person, it just won't work. We'll see that a little bit as we go on here. Sometimes threats against you, for instance, if you do this for me, I will give you the affection you want. If you do that for me, I'll take you out for dinner. If you do this, or just do something in a different way, that's control. That's real control there. So think about that one. And make the same thing, kind of making threats to you, trying to control you to do this, that, or the other thing. I know it's kind of like the last one, but especially for attention. That seems to be something that you're asking for more attention in many ways. And finally, you come right out and say it. You even have a list of things that you'd like to see happen. That's the same thing. Oh, if you do this, maybe if we do that, it never comes to fruition what you want. Never. And then the other person always keeps an active scoreboard for some reason. You can't imagine how they have such a memory to remember what you did right, what you did wrong. But most everything was you did wrong and they did right. And they'll bring up it's amazing, their memory, little tiny things that have happened, tiny things that you are an easygoing person. If you've asked these questions, remember, a controlling person tries to pick a very easygoing, loving person that will put up with this for a while until they really realize what's going on. And sometimes they don't realize for years. And then all of a sudden they aren't very happy and they know something's wrong. And they try to use guilt against you, like, oh, well, and it could be anything. It could be anything. You were talking on the phone when I was here. You didn't give me all your attention. I don't want to be here if you're not going to give me your attention. You were cooking. You were, whatever it is you were doing. They will really guilt you. They'll guilt you. Or you went and talked to your girlfriends, or you went somewhere. It's not very reasonable. It's not reasonable at all. And then a lot of times they give you a debt, and I say a debt, well, you didn't do something right. And they can throw that up to you, and they do throw it up to you all the time. Usually many things. They pick up little things. Or even about your friends. They don't like this, that, and the other about your friends, and they throw that up to you. And be very careful that you don't tell them anything confidential about your friends, because that will be thrown up to you, and maybe to your friend. I seriously mean that. I've had people call me just crying, absolutely in tears, because this has happened. So think about those things, please. And a big thing here is a very big thing, and each one of these things doesn't affect everybody, but some of them, one of these here will affect, you'll know. And it's they're spying, they're snooping, they're looking on your phone when you answer the phone, you go in the kitchen, when you go in the bathroom, seeing who called you, asking you who they were, whether it was a business call or a block call or a political call, following you to see where you go, what you do, maybe walking in where you are, making it unnecessary remarks or looks, and standing around like they own you, like nobody could really talk to you. asking your friends questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? What time was that? It's very, very delusional, almost delusional. It's like a detective, like having a detective after you. So do think about that is important, because that drives you crazy. That will drive you crazy, and pretty soon you won't like it because there's no trust there, no trust at all. And this is one I think that I hear more about than anything else, and it's overactive jealousy, accusations, or paranoia, and I mean it. I mean, I've had, again, people crying saying, the minute they walk in my house or the minute I see them, they start accusing me. Some man looked at me, some woman looked at you, and it is accuse. Oh, how do you know them? Who are they? You don't know them. You never saw them before in your life. And it's very delusional, because they're always accusing you of other people being with you, whether they are or not. And sometimes they go to that person, they threaten them not to be with you. And that person may say to you, you may know them as a friend or just as an acquaintance. They may say to you, well, so-and-so came to me and told me I better leave you alone. You were their person. Or if I don't leave you alone, they're going to beat me up. And this person has nothing in any way, either try to make a move on you, you trying to get to them, nothing. It's totally delusional. That is total control. That is total control. And they're always sneaking around, following you. I mean, I know I said that, but it's really important. They're sneaking around your house. They're sneaking out where you are. They're checking out the mileage on your car sometimes, feeling your tires are hot, not hot in your motor, whether you just pulled in the garage or whether you just pulled up to where you were. That's total control, and that's a relationship that nobody wants to be in. It's very hurtful, very hurtful. And they show no respect for you whatsoever. None. I mean, none at all. It's just in the manner they approach you is not respectful. And here you are, probably a very respectful person, never been treated like that in your whole life. And whether you care about them or you're lonely, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because you'll be calling me or somebody and crying and saying, what did I do wrong? Because in this situation, you're always trying to defend yourself. You can do that if you like, but it's not going to do any good. It won't do you any good at all. And this is another one, your sexual relationships. Making love, for instance, so you get right down to it. All the physical love may be good, may be enjoyable, but it's like out of a manual, just like out of a manual. There's no conversation, no sweet talks, no emotion whatsoever. And when they're done usually. No loving remarks. And it's abusive, verbally abusive, or nonverbal, and nonverbal can be very deadly. That's very hurtful. If someone doesn't talk to you at all, we all know that. I'm just being very honest and very direct here. That would be one sign to get away, to really get away from it. That would hurt you, and I shouldn't be saying that. I guess you have to do what you want to do on it. I've just had so many calls about it, and I guess that's why I'm a little thinking about it. They're always complaining about trust. They can't trust you because you do this, because you do that. You can't do anything right. When a situation gets like that, well, you might say, why do you want to be with me then? And you might think about that. And so many of us hold on to things. We hold on to it because we're lonely. We don't want to be alone. We think we love the person. And all it is attention. Whether it's negative or positive, it's attention. And as you go on, if you stay with this, it'll just get worse and worse and worse. And you're always the guilty one. You're always guilty. Whether it had anything to do with the situation or not, sometimes it's again like having another person in your life. You never did it. You're trying to defend yourself. You didn't do it. Just say you didn't do it and walk away, because you won't win. You will not win. And it's hard. It's very hard. I know it's hard on your heart, and it's hard on your mind, and it makes you feel stressed and unhappy most of the time. And all your friends will notice it and say to you, you're not yourself. You're not yourself, no matter how long that goes on. And it's true. That's very true. And you know that, and you want to get back to yourself. The only way you can do that is it's hard, because what's in your heart sometimes is not what's in your head. And we understand that, but sometimes you have to have self-love with yourself. Tough self-love with yourself. Just walk away. I know you may get lonely. You may miss, if there were any good times, you may miss that, but Is it worth all the other? That's up to you to figure that out. And sometimes there's arguments, just arguments, so much arguing that you argue because you are an easygoing person and a loving person. So what happens, they argue and argue and argue till you finally can't stand it anymore and you just give up. You just give up to stop it. And they have the need to be right. You have to understand this. And the person like this, if you say, I'm going to have it here, but if you say something is black, I'm just giving you an example, they'll say it's white. If you say it's white, they'll say it's black. So it's no sense to argue, honestly. It's a person has that need to be right. All you can do is say, you're absolutely right, whether they are or not, if you want to make it quit. And then you may have religious beliefs, you may have cultural beliefs, just strong beliefs of your own, political. They're always belittling you. Whatever it is, it's wrong. It's like I said, if it's black, it's white. If it's white, it's black. And that's in all your beliefs also. They will be criticized. They'll make little innuendos about it. Oh, John Smith or Sally Smith, they think this way. Isn't that terrible? Just like you do. It'll be comments like that. Comments like that. And making you feel very, very unworthy all the time. Unworthy of anything. And you eventually, that just wears you down. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you at all. Teasing or being ridiculing you in a way that it's too much. It's like the arguing. It's just too much. You need to make it quit. You need to say that's enough. And whenever you say that, it's never enough. That's probably makes them do more. And pressuring you to whatever they really want. And those are the points that I have just written down and researched a little. And I know that I think you have to really think about this, but you have to know that a person who is like that, actually, truly, most of them are very narcissistic, and you can look that up in Quora Digest, and you can also look it up anywhere, but they also are so unworthy of themselves. Down deep inside, they can't really accept gifts, if you remember that. They won't accept gifts, hardly. If they do, you think you did something nice. They can't accept gifts. They can't say anything nice about themselves at all. They really down deep don't feel worthy of any of it. And this stems from their childhood, but it's not for you and you won't solve it for them. It's so deep that I don't think it can happen. Well, I hope this helped you a whole lot. I don't want to make it unhappy, negative. I hope you took this in a positive thought to help you know where you're at and where things are of all the questions I've been asked. Thank you very much and have a great week. Bye-bye.